Welcome to part 2 of the Suzuki GS450 top end rebuild. In the first segment, we rebuilt the heads and honed the cylinders. In this part, I'm going to show you how to reinstall the cylinders, compressing the piston rings, and setting the head on and getting that torque down. I've broken this series down into 4 parts to make it shorter, obviously, and not bore you completely to death. It's midwinter here in Michigan, and I'm finally getting around to editing these videos. I actually did most of the work or finished up the bike here a couple of months ago. So anyway, give you kind of a ground set where we're at. Hope you're enjoying this, and let's just get to it. What we're going to do initially here is to put a compressor on these rings so that they can compress the rings and get them to slide up when we're bringing in the cylinder. And what you want to do is the piston rings themselves stagger the gaps. Top gap should be facing the back of the bike, and then just face it 180 degrees out. I'm sorry, 120 degrees out. This one's already been done, so what we'll do, first thing I'll do is I use assembly lube on this. You can use just plain old engine oil, but the assembly lube just a little bit slicker and stays in place a little bit better for this type of stuff. And you just put some on around the inside of the compressor, because you want it to slide off when you bring the cylinder down. All right. Just wipe it around a little bit on here. And position it on. The trick is there's only a couple of compressors that'll work, ring compressors that'll work, for one reason, that the motorcycle pistons are so small in diameter, and this one will come apart all the way. So once the cylinder head is on, you can just take this off and remove it from the bottom. You want to leave the lip here so you can fit the cylinder bore over the piston and give it less to slide down. Okay, center it up, and this one's ready. And what I'll do is just do the other one, but you leave about this much room on here so you can, like I say, center it in the piston or center it in the bore, and then when the cylinder comes down, this will slide down with it. All right, this is the bottom of the cylinder, or cylinders. I put new gaskets in there. There's new O-ring gaskets. You can see them there. All you need to do, these are obviously the old ones, just oil them up a little bit and put new gaskets on there. Make sure this is all clean in here. You've got your guide pins in, and you can get this thing and position it on top of the engine block to get it ready to go in. So I took the chain and I put a piece of wire through it here so it doesn't fall down into the cylinder block when you're lowering the cylinders. And the trick here then is to lower this down in there, keeping the cylinders as best you can centered in the bore while you push this down.
take it off of this one. There we go.
Well, as you can see, we are ready now to put the head onto the cylinders here, so we'll start going through that procedure. Getting ready to put the head gasket on. Gotta loosen up the wire for the chain. Put the wire through the gasket. And let it sit. Make sure you got a new head gasket. They're expensive, but I'm not gonna get away without it. Tell you what, I'm just gonna stick this here for right now, so it doesn't fall. Just to seat this and go get the cylinder head. And it looks like everything's ready to go on. So feed it down, and there it sits. Okay, the valve head is seated on the cylinders. Make sure you check on both sides that it's seated all the way down. There's two pins, one on each cylinder, that sit up inside the cylinder head, so when you're pushing the head down, you want to make sure that those are centered and it goes down. So this is ready to torque or put the bolts on, and we can finish putting the rest of this together. At this point, before you do anything else, is to stuff some paper towels or rags on each side of the chain here. Before you start putting the washers and nuts or bolts on, nuts on here. That way you don't have to worry about dropping things and it falling down into the engine, because that is a real pain in the butt. So what we will do now is start putting the washers and the nuts on here. It's always nice to get the easy ones. Got these copper washers. There's 8 in total on the inside, 4 on the inside, 4 on the outside. And this is where paper towels or the rags come in handy. Get these started. So once you've got these things started, go ahead and snug them up, and then we'll follow up with the torque wrench and get this snugged down. Now it's time to torque these down.
Start in the center, in the cross pattern, then work your way to the outside. And a little bit at a time, obviously. And now we'll there's one, two, three. There's one more bolt that goes on, and that's this one here. So what I'm going to do on this is put some anti-seize compound on here. Whenever you're dealing, these are our stainless steel fasteners that I put on, and with aluminum. Trust me on this. Use anti-seize on these. As a matter of fact, that's why this thing got a rebuild, is I put stainless steel fasteners on it, and one of them seized up. The bolt broke, and the whole thing was trying to get the bolt out, or to get it fixed. Just about destroyed the case. So this case is not original to the bike. This is from a GS500, which also happens to fit the GS450s. The engines are basically the same. They've been making these things, or have made them, for 25-30 years. This is one of those bolts that there's not enough room to put a socket under there, so that's why I'm using a little wrench here. This is supposed to be torqued down to 8 foot-pounds, but since I can't get a socket in there, I'm going to have to just guesstimate it. There, that feels like 8 foot-pounds. What do you think? Okay. Next will be the camshafts.
So that's it for part 2. We've got the cylinders and the head installed on the bike, and it's torqued down. It's ready to put on all the parts subsequent that. Part 3, what we'll focus on is installing the camshafts, the chain, setting the timing, rebuilding the chain tensioner, and getting all that up to spec so we can put on the rest of the parts. So we'll see you in part number 3.